whether it be record sales, television, personal appearances, or popularity polls. The Osmonds are #1. The incredible success of this talented family has made them tops in the music industry.
I can tell you've been hurt by that look on your face, girl. Some guy brought Sadie to your happy world. You need love, but you're afraid that if you give in, someone else will come along and suck you to your game. One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl.
Oh, give it one more try before you give up on love.
One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl.
Oh, I don't care what they say, I don't care what you heard.
Great performers. I mean, when they got on stage, they were electrifying.
They were fantastic showmen, singers, dancers, all that kind of stuff. But just the sheer raw talent of their vocals sung together, it's a sonic miracle.
I mean, they were so popular in England when they did tours in England. I mean, it was like the Beatles coming to America. The Osmonds going to England had the same audience size that the Beatles would have here. That's how big the Osmonds were.
It was mania. You know, you look at the Beatles mania and Osmond's mania was just the same.
We landed at Heathrow Airport. 15,000 girls broke through customs and shut the airport down. They were up on the top, jumping up and down, and they broke the balcony. And 7 of them fell down, went to the hospital. Oh man, we felt badly about that.
The Osmonds touched the hearts of many people worldwide.
The way it all started, from my understanding, is that my brothers went down to Los Angeles with my father to get an audition in front of Lawrence Welk. Lauren couldn't see him, so my father said, let's make a vacation out of it, and took my brothers to Disneyland. And they were walking down the streets of Disneyland.
They had on red jackets, black pants, black shoes, white socks.
And we were very fortunate that Walt Disney saw us at Disneyland.
Walt said, I got to put you on some television shows.
They did one show from Disneyland, an amateur show on Saturday morning. My father happened to see it.
And when Andy Williams' father saw them, he thought that Andy should have them on the show.
And they knocked everybody out. The mail that we got was incredible. Everybody loved them, and the rest is history. Here they are, ladies and gentlemen, the Osmond brothers.
Well, I'm a ding-dong daddy from Dumas, and you ought to see me do my stuff. I'm a clean-cut fella from Ogden, Utah. You ought to see me strut. Well, I'm a ding-dong daddy, got a gal named Kate. She's a mighty pretty lady that I like to date. Well, I'm a ding-dong daddy from Dumas, and you ought to see me do my stuff.
We were on his show for 7 years, if we had something to do. Well, thanks to our family nights, we had a lot of songs we had learned, and we were on those shows 7 years.
In all of this, Alan has always been one of the leaders of the family.
He had an ability to lead.
It was Alan that made it all happen. He was the one that kept us on task. We were on tour, and Alan had this crazy idea about putting karate in our show. I'm thinking, that doesn't have anything to do with music. He said, yeah, but it's exciting.
We asked Chuck Norris, our friend, to teach us karate. I said, Chuck, we're in front of people that are like 3 feet from us. They can tell if we're faking it. Well, we're in Indianapolis, got 40,000 people out there.
And so Alan and Jay come out, and they do all this sparring, all down to the beat. The audience was going crazy. They were loving it. Alan's supposed to come with a punch like that to Jay, and Jay's supposed to block it.
But what happened is when I kneed him in the stomach just before that, he wasn't either ready and didn't take the kick in the stomach, and it knocked him out, and he was a little slow coming back. Well, I'm on cue to the beat and the tempo. But I come around the roundhouse, and I opened his nose up in front of everybody.
Blood everywhere.
And I tell you, I didn't know what to do, and I went to the stage on the microphone, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. I said, we're going to have a word of prayer.
And we patched Jay's nose back onto his face with all this tape. And Alan said, can you continue? And I'm thinking, excuse me? You almost killed my brother. And you want to continue?
You finish what you start. And we finished the fight. Then we went to the hospital to get sewed up, came back and did our second show. And so the greatest thing, I think, is that we've been able to survive in the entertainment business as a family.
my mother. She wanted Alan to start dating some wholesome girls.
So she always had the dream of taking us back to Utah.
And shortly after we moved, he started dating a little girl named Suzanne Pinniger.
I've known Suzanne since we were in elementary school. I have never met someone so genuine as Suzanne, and that's just the way she's always been her whole life. She was a cheerleader at BYU, but she's always stayed grounded, and that's what I love about Suzanne.
When I was at BYU, and after a basketball game one night, I'd been cheerleading, and he came down on the floor and introduced himself. I expected him to be kind of conceited because he was a celebrity, and so after our first date, I came back going, you know what, he's really fun. He's really a nice guy. So after about 6 months, we got engaged, and it was very, very quick because he had a world tour. We were married in the Provo Temple and flew to Vegas, where he did 2 shows our wedding night, and that was the first time I ever saw him perform. And so he came off the stage, and I was like, you guys are really good.
I didn't want to marry a show business girl. I wanted to marry someone exactly like her. And I want you to know, this girl right here who I married, my wife, deserves so much of the credit.
I think one of the greatest teams out there are the Alan and Suzanne Osmond team.
If you could have a role model for a couple and the parents, it would be Alan and his wife, Suzanne.
I think anyone who knows Alan knows that he wouldn't be Alan without Suzanne. All the sanity comes from Suzanne. All the craziness comes from Alan. I think those kids would probably all be dead by now if it were just Alan.
We have 8 very talented, wonderful sons. And I think that's probably our greatest, I guess you could call it a success.
Raising 8 boys, she's earned 8 Eagle Scouts. She's raised her children to give back to the community, and I think that's important.
My wife is an inspiration to me. She is just the best thing in life, and that's the best thing I ever got out of Utah.
Having not grown up with any kind of celebrity, and then having that injected into my life very quickly, it was an adjustment. When we lived in California, though, and they were doing the Donnie and Marie show, we had fans outside of our place 24/7, and that got really old. So that's why we like to come back to Utah.
We're not Hollywood people, we're Utah people.
We love this place so much. We love the mountains, we love the people, the different seasons. He even wrote a song about it called Utah. And in fact, I think it should be the anthem of Utah.
Well, I'm going back to Utah. Utah is a place where I want to be.
I went and took the meeting with ABC President Fred Silverman. He said, Alan, I'm excited to renew the show, Donnie and Marie show. And I said, well, we're excited to accept it, but we want to do it in Utah. He said, Utah? What's in Utah? Well, nothing yet, but we're building a studio there now.
Back in the late 70s, they built the studio here, and man, what an amazing facility that was.
And it was state of the art. I mean, it was the best studio around. They brought in the best equipment. They brought in the best producers.
It was a very exciting time. There were big stars coming in and out of that studio all the time.
And they drew from all of the people here in this county and state to fill those positions, to do those things.
I owe my career to the Osmond family, and Alan took a huge gamble on me.
We knew that people were talented, but they hadn't had a break. And so we had now an opportunity to give them a break. And we found people here so talented. I said, they're better than the people in Los Angeles.
You know, if I were to look back in my career, if it wasn't for Alan Osmond and the opportunities he gave me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today.
It was a great blessing to the lives of many, many people.
Without it, things wouldn't be the same as they are.
There's a lot of industry here now that's due almost entirely to that family.
We learned so much from Alan, all of us that worked with him over the years, especially on the Stadium of Fire shows.
When Alan created Stadium of Fire, I thought, oh, this is kind of a cool idea. We'll have a little fireworks show. Alan doesn't do anything little.
Alan loves a big production. His only desire in any production would be that people walk away and have the time of their life.
That's why I did Stadium of Fire. You need to see something. That's why I use fireworks. It's big enough scale to fit the stadium. I'm not going to go in there and listen to just a violin. I want to go in and see something blow up.
Talk about an impact. Probably the greatest 4th of July celebration in this country, because you get top artists coming saying, we want to be part of Stadium of Fire.
You have to reel him in a little bit because he has these crazy ideas.
So Alan had this idea to make the Guinness Book of Records, because it had never been done before, to light off a million firecrackers at once.
Give a little boy a match. Look what he did to the Stadium of Fire.
And it was like a mushroom cloud when those firecrackers went off. It was really intense.
I really thought he was going to blow up Provo.
We want to just be real people. And I think that's what made it work, and that's why I've had so many friends. And we're all, if you look at the big picture, brothers and sisters, children of God. So that's what I like to look at people.
Alan and the family got involved with Children's Miracle Network.
What we had in mind was building something for Utah, using this great facility, and see what we could do. And that credibility of the Osmond name got us in every television station we needed to get to and helped us with all the children's hospitals. USA Today, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post have all named Children's Miracle Network hospitals the #1 charity in America. And in the 38-year history of the Children's Miracle Network, we've raised almost $7 billion for 170 children's hospitals.
I think a lot of people look at the Osmonds, especially the way they're portrayed in the public eye, and are they really as good as they say? Are they really as sweet and as kind? And they are that and a whole lot more.
I know how hard it was when Alan's MS got worse.
When I found out that Alan had MS, I was heartbroken. But the motto that he has, that I have MS, but MS doesn't have me, is so typical of Alan.
That's why I always looked up to Alan. I still look up to Alan, because despite any adversity that may come his way, MS, you name it, whatever, he always has a smile on his face. And as I think back, as a little kid, he was always having fun in life. He always enjoyed what he did. And it's still that way today.
Everybody could have the spirit and the excitement for life and deal with life's circumstances as well as Alan Osmond. This would be a greater place to live.
There's only one way I could get through this world doing all I do, and that's the sweet wife I have.
So we work together as a team. He may have weakness physically right now, but his spirit is strong.
And in sickness and health, she stands by my side. And together we're a team, but she's the real producer.
The Osmonds are Utah Valley.
I think Alan and Suzanne are so deserving of this honor because of what they've given back to their community and this state and those around here.
I can't imagine this state and that business without that family. It wouldn't have happened.
We didn't get here by ourselves. A lot of credit goes to a lot of people.
Show business and gold records don't last. Families do. And families always first with the Osmonds.